Welcome to 2A Cops supporting gun rights. We're going live because we have some important information, especially for those of you that live in the Southwest. The governor of New Mexico has suspended some of your Second Amendment rights under an emergency declaration. This is super important information, but do me a favor before we get into this. Hit like, subscribe, leave a comment. I want to know what you guys think about all this. We got a lot to dive into. I'm going live. It's our first one, so let me know how it goes. I'm going live because it's important. We got to get the information out there right now to let you know what is going on. It's not good. All right, so I got a video to show you of the governor here in a second, but first up, I just want to go over what is occurring on the ground in New Mexico right now. So New Mexico Governor Michelle Grisham issued an emergency order suspending the right to carry firearms in public in Albuquerque and the surrounding county for 30 days. Now, she did this, she says, in response to a spate of violence that's occurred in Albuquerque. Now, to be clear, before I get into more of this, Albuquerque is having issues because of what the liberal politicians have been doing. They've been coddling criminals forever, and now the governor wants to suspend your right to conceal carry or open carry, which is lawful in those areas. Even if you have a CCW, it doesn't matter. She's taking that right away from you. So how are you supposed to protect yourself from all this spate of violence? By suspending your Second Amendment rights. Again, this is what the Democrats do. They punish the regular law-abiding people and give criminals more liberty than us. So let's talk about the legal and law enforcement response to this. The governor said that she expects legal challenges, but felt compelled to act. State police is going to enforce the order, which we'll talk more about the police response here in a minute, which amounts to a civil violation. Look, this is a $5,000 fine at most. This is not something that they can lock you up for. It is a civil process, to be clear. Now, I have family in this area, in the affected area. I plan on going there very soon. I will not stop carrying. In fact, if you want to use this video in my court case, and so be it, I know that I'm going to win because this is so dumb. All right. So look, Albuquerque Police Chief Medina and Bernalillo County Sheriff John Allen have expressed reservations, citing constitutional concerns. Gentlemen, if you are watching this, the statement that you should be making is we are not going to enforce this. Now, before I came on, I hit a private group that is full of law enforcement. I specifically asked for officers in this area to let me know if they were going to be enforcing this. They told me no, that they are not going to because, quote, I don't want to be a part of case law. And another quote, it's stupid. So just heads up with that. So the suspension applies to both open and concealed carry in most public places. Now, they exempted police and licensed security guards, which if they're exempting us, then they should exempt the public too. They should be able to carry to protect themselves. And again, violators could face civil penalties and a fine up to $5,000. Now, just some additional context in this. The governor has previously signed legislation restricting access to guns, including a red flag law and background check requirements. The order also directs state regulators to conduct monthly inspections of firearms dealers. Now, look, I worked street crimes, I worked gangs. The guns aren't bought at FFLs. They are bought on the street by people that steal guns and then sell them on the street. It very rarely do you ever actually bought from an FFL. So with that said, I want to show you a video from the governor, and she's getting grilled right now. So I just want you to hear that for a moment. It's pretty interesting.
But your point is valid.
You took an oath to the Constitution. Isn't it unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your carrying license?
With one exception, and that is if there's an emergency, and I've declared an emergency for a temporary amount of time, I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. There are restrictions on free speech. There are restrictions on my freedoms. In this emergency, this 11-year-old and all these parents who have lost all these children, they deserve my attention to have the debate about whether or not in an emergency we can create a safer environment. Because what about their constitutional rights? I took an oath to uphold those too. And if we ignore this growing problem without being bold, I've said to every other New Mexican, your rights are subrogated to theirs. And they are not, in my view.
Wait a minute, though. You're talking about crimes. There are already laws against the crimes, so how are their rights?
I got it, but again, if I'm unsafe, who's standing up for that right? If this climate is so out of control, somebody should do something. I'm doing as much as I know to do.
Madam Governor,
Yep.
do you really think that criminals are going to hear this message and not carry a gun in Albuquerque on the streets for 30 days?
No. But here's what I do think. It's a pretty resounding message.
Okay. It's a pretty resounding message. That is the words of a tyrant. I hate using that word, but man, it is what it is. I can't believe she knows it's not going to work. The cops know it's going to work. And Chief, shame on you for standing up there with her. You shouldn't be up there. If you want to see what we thought or what Matt and I think about police chiefs and what they're doing with gun control, we've got a video in our history where we talk about the chiefs and how they don't represent law enforcement. So just because you see that guy up there, that doesn't mean the Albuquerque Police Department, the officers on the street, agree with anything that guy is saying. All right. With that said, look, civil penalties, $5,000 fine. The initial cops that we've talked to have said they're not going to do anything, that they know that it's going to be lost in court. But just the nerve. She said, her own words, she knows it's not going to deter a gang member from carrying a gun and shooting somebody. She's merely stripping the rights of people from protecting themselves. I did this live because I wanted to get the information out there to you right away. Do me a favor in the comments. Let me know what you think of the live, if we should do more of these, what have you. So that's all I've got for now. Remember your ABCs. Always be caring.